all that stuff. And then surround him with guys who are fast and athletic.
So so we're turning into the Lamelo Ball fan page, honestly.
Yeah, we really are.
We're working on getting Lamelo on the podcast, and
it's a dream. But if he comes to Minnesota, we're gonna try to make it happen. I think we praise him enough.
He's our age. It's like hanging out.
Yeah.
We can hang out with him.
Yeah, and I think that's awesome. And I think like Lamelo in Minnesota would be so sick for so many reasons. Like me and Peyton grew up watching, or like when we played basketball in high school and stuff, that's the dude we watched on Ball's Life. Like that's where all our basketball videos came from. That's the guy we watched, was that Chino Hills Lamelo team. And I think he fits in today's NBA perfect. Like a 6'8" point guard with, I'm going to say, elite passing and elite vision, because the passes he's making and ball handling, the passes he's making at his age are incredible. I think he's shown glimpses of he can hit the long ball. I think he just needs to take better shots and fix his form. I think he has but I know this is a controversial statement, but he's in a tier of his own in this draft, in my opinion.
That's what I've been watching like the ESPN draft stuff, and it's weird. All of those analysts on ESPN are pushing LaMelo to be the number one pick. But that is ESPN. So the thing is, they are trying to get the number one pick to be like the Zion Williamson, the guy with the most publicity, because that's how they get the most views. So I feel like that's why ESPN, because they're saying it's undisputed, like what you were saying. They're saying he's in a tier of his own, and they're saying like I think that's just ESPN doing that, because it's not that simple. Like he's not.
I'll definitely. So I think this is no knock on Edwards and Wiseman either, because I think they can be all stars of their own. They each have great. If like one of the guys on ESPN said about James Wiseman, he's like, if you were to build a center in the lab, that's the exact physique you'd want. He's so athletic, and I think it's the same with Anthony Edwards. If you were to build a shooting guard in the lab, he's who do you want? 6'5" at 225. I think, but with LaMelo, like, so Mike Schmitz was the guy who made that tier list you're talking about. I think he's the main ESPN draft analyst, along with Javoni. And I think so he interviewed 98 out of the 100 draft prospects. So I think that's why he's my number one guy, and that's why I listen to him, because he analyzes he sits down with them. Some of them were online because it was after COVID, but with like LaMelo and Anthony Edwards, he sat down with them, did an hour-long film session with them, and broke down their game. So I mean, that's why I trust him the most. And I think the other thing was, he was the only only scout in the 2018 draft that said Luka Doncic should go number one instead of DeAndre Ayton.
All right. Yeah, dude. He did seem pretty knowledgeable. And like the thing about what you're saying, these guys are made, and like that's how you'd make them in the lab. The thing about LaMelo is no one would make him in the lab. And
he's a really unique player.
Like no one would ever make a scrawny 6'8". He's not athletic. He's really not that athletic.
He's not going to jump out of the roof or anything, and he's not the fastest guy, but his intangibles and his basketball IQ is what makes him so good.
This is where I'm going at that point. That is why he is such a good – that's what's made him such a good basketball player, is not having the intangibles athletically. It's forced him to become smarter about his game, and like that's why his IQ is so high. That's why that's why his ball, because he's been forced to work on other things of his game. And then once he finally got his height came along, because he wasn't that tall always.
No.
Once he finally got that height, that's when he really actually became a top prospect. Because up to a year ago, maybe, he wasn't in the conversation. He was probably a first rounder, but I don't think he was a lottery pick. I think last year, I think he wasn't even like 2 years ago when he went to Spire Academy, he couldn't be ranked in like the high school rankings.
I think he was 22 in the high school rankings.
Right. There was something where he couldn't be ranked because he like played internationally. So
his shoe messed up all his stuff. He couldn't go to college because of his shoe. So I mean, it's tough to analyze someone who had to go to Lithuania when he was 15 years old, and this is like the most unique route anyone has ever taken to play basketball before.
The prison camp in Lithuania. What's that place in Russia where they send like the prisoners?
The Gulag? I don't know.
No. Up north. It's like the northern region of Russia where it's like.
I have no clue.
Come on, you do. Okay. Siberia.
Should I pull a Jamie? Oh, the country. Okay, I thought you said like a name of a prison.
I think Siberia. That's where they send like the prisoners in Russia, like they used to.
I think during like World War II and
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
That's what like when I think of Lithuania and Lamelo going there, that's what I think of. Like LeVar just sent him to freaking like just terrible. Like I don't know what Lithuania looks like or like the geology of it, but it just sounds like just a terrible.
I mean, hey, but like we all LeVar is a little crazy. Let's not kid ourselves. He's a little out there saying he can beat like Michael Jordan and stuff. But he said all three of his sons were going to be in the NBA, and so far he's 2 for 3 because if we're going to count Jello, he's in the G League, so he's a part of the association. He could be moved up, and then he said Lonzo and LeVar said it themselves. LaMelo is going to be the best one out of those two, and so far it's looking like it.
Well, yeah, think about like everyone's like, oh, Jello's trash, right? Everyone's like, yeah, Jello is not Jello,
yeah.
He's terrible. He's like, he's a bust, dude. The guy's in the G League. Think about anyone in Wisconsin, like in the high school, like no one has ever made it to the G League. Like if someone from our high school made it to the G League, like that would be like
huge accomplishment.
Like Henry Ellingson, he's in my conference. He's in the G League, and everyone's like, he's like a god around here. Like everyone knows Henry Ellingson, and like Jello, like he makes it to the G League, and everyone's like,
it's gotta be so hard being under the spotlight like that. Like I think that's why I think Lonzo's like we've talked about this before. We both think Lonzo's a good player and could be a great player. He's only like 22 or 23, but he's had so much pressure on him, and he's had so many different situations already and I think he finally found his place in New Orleans. I love him and on the Pelicans.
Mm-hmm. Oh, for sure. I have a Lonzo Ball Lakers jersey. I got it when he was drafted, a fake one, but yeah, dude, LeVar, like I've always said this. He's such a. I think he's one of the best.
He's a great dad. I think like he gets on his sons, but in a great way. Like he probably LaMelo probably didn't have the best work ethic, but his dad was on him 24/7.
Well, just imagine your dad like just like saying, "Oh yeah, my son is like, oh he's gonna make it to the NBA. Like all my sons are gonna make it to the NBA." Like people like to say that as a bad thing, but would you not want your dad to have that confidence in you?
And the confidence is. Yeah, he's right about every single one so far.
So yeah, while some people say LeVar is like the worst dad ever, I've heard that before. But like,
I think there was one. I think the JBA was the only bad thing, pulling him out of high school. But I mean, it could have helped playing in Australia. Helped LaMelo get to the #1 overall pick.
Yeah, if LaMelo doesn't play in Australia, I don't think he would be in this. Like, I don't think he would be as highly like touted as he is right now.
And he's been working out with that Jermaine Jackson guy, that former NBA player, and he's an agent now for a lot of guys. But he looks like he's putting on muscle too. You know, if he can get over 200 pounds,
hey, for us skinny guys like that, we know how hard it is to put on the. We know.
Yeah, for real.
We know how hard it is to put on the LBs. It's not.
Yeah.